Hey everyone, so I'm just starting here quickly. I've just got you guys on YouTube. I'm going to turn TikTok on in a minute, but a few things have happened over the last couple of days, and it's really knocked me for six. It has, and I'm putting it out there now. And I've done videos on civil war in the United Kingdom before, when I've said this person's saying it, this person's saying it. Right now, what I'm saying is, this is my opinion, my professional opinion. Right now, as we sit, civil war in the United Kingdom is inevitable. And I'm going to come on to the reasons why. It's not just going to be in the United Kingdom, it's going to be in Europe. And look, guys, just let your eyes tell you the truth. That's all you need to do. Don't listen to media and these people on mainstreams. Keir Starmer's got blah, blah, blah. Shabana Mahmood have reformed. Don't listen to them. Let your Mark 1 eyeball tell you the truth. And you know what? Your own eyes will not lie to you. So before we get on, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share my notifications. I don't even know how to share my notifications. Share my stuff. That really helps me out. So I'll just let me have a little drink of this, because if I don't have a drink of this now, before I turn TikTok on, it's going to take me down to the candy shop, right? So I don't know if you guys can see that. This is my last bottle of Ravens Reserve. Can you see that? Where's that there? No, you can't see it, can you? There's too much light. But that is this is my last bottle of Ravens Special Reserve Merlot. I was saving it for a special occasion. And what better occasion than the end of the world? What better occasion, ladies and gentlemen, than when I actually say it right now? I'm saying this, nobody else. We are heading towards a civil war in the United Kingdom, and it's inevitable. I'm not saying that Elon Musk said that. This is me now. This is me saying it. Because let's face it, Elon, Trump, all the rest of them, they're all a couple of months behind me anyway. Right. Let me turn TikTok on, and then we'll just start. Are they starting? I think. Give me a second. Oh, what have I just done? Right, is that on? I don't even know if this is on. Give me a second. Right, I think it's on. Yes, we're on. We're gone. Oh, Michelle Marsh, thank you for a super. Thank you for the super, Michelle. Michelle's sending a £5 super. Thank you so much, Michelle. X82. Everybody's saying yeast feast. It's not a yeast feast. My carbonated yeast feast is not ready. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, if you're on now, this is when we really started. This is when we're really starting. You guys on TikTok, you're just going to have to catch up. We are talking about, I'm saying it, civil war is inevitable now. This is not me sloping shoulders. This is my opinion, my speculation, my analysis. There's no going back. Doesn't matter who gets elected in 2029. Doesn't matter what legislation's passed next week in Parliament. It does not matter. It will be fast in the context that it will start fast. It's going to be Europe. It's going to be the United Kingdom. I think it'll start in the United Kingdom, actually. Listen, and if you want any more information on this, let your own eyes tell you the truth. Let your own eyes tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, because guess what? Your own eyes will not lie to you. No, they will not. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me just get into this, okay? Let me just get into this, because I've been talking about this for quite a while, right? And let me be frank and let me be stark. My low-end estimate for the death toll of a civil war in the United Kingdom, based on the information that I've got right now, my low end, as in it's going to be a lot more, could be a lot more. My low end is 2.1 million. That's my low-end estimates, guys. That is like... Bear in mind, we lost 457 soldiers when we went to Afghanistan for 20 years. Yeah, you kind of understand what I'm talking about now, right? You kind of understand the numbers that are going through my head, right? That's the floor, not the ceiling. That's the floor. That is the bottom line that I think it's going to be. So let me start Let me start with the cold, hard factors that have led me to this conclusion. Now, I'm drawing on, decades of experience from Iraq, Afghanistan, the troubles in Northern Ireland, Ukraine, all the conflicts around the world. I've lived through those conflicts, okay? And three interlocking elements always emerge, always, as a precursor to a breakdown. Tell me I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, if there's any subject matter experts out there, I challenge you to challenge me. Literally challenge me on this. There's three elements that always precursor a breakdown of society. First of all, polarization and tribalism. That, you get polarization, us versus them, left versus right, up versus down, black versus white, red versus blue. Polarization. The erosion of the state's legitimacy. That is real, right, guys? When people don't believe the state anymore. For example, if we had a situation in a random country where the government said, I don't know, we're not going to raise taxes for working people, then raise taxes for working people, you would think, oh, we don't believe what you're going to say. For example, if they said, we are going to support our troops and then chased our soldiers through the legal system, you would start to think, oh, okay, they don't seem to be a legitimate state actor. And the final thing, ladies and gentlemen, is ethnic replacement. These are not abstract theories. These are the tinder that will, you know what, it's already there, right? This is the tinder that a spark will fuel. And tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me that you don't see these things in your society. Wherever you live, I don't think it matters right now. Tell me you don't see polarization, us versus them. Tell me that's not happening. Whether it's Syrian refugees fighting Kurdish refugees, whether it's Somalian refugees fighting Eritrean refugees, whether it's native Brits just trying to get their shopping from Tesco's, whatever. Tell me that's not a thing, right? Tell me that's not there. The erosion of state legitimacy. Tell me that. Does anybody feel that this government is legitimate right now? And I'm calling it now, guys. This is me. I'm not saying that Elon Musk said this, because let's face it, all these people, Elon, Trump, they all follow me. Maybe they're not following my page, but they all say the things I'm saying literally verbatim a couple of months later. So I don't care anymore. And ethnic replacement. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, do you feel the ethnic Brits are being replaced by the new Brits? Like I said, these are not abstract theories anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Let me come on to first, the polarization. Polarization. Now, this is and I've warned about this so many times. So, polarization is where people just don't think anymore. They've given up thinking. People have stopped thinking. They only look and feel, which, you know what, it's we've done this for a long time. This is tribalization. And what happens is when people tribalize, they don't see people, they just see tribes. So, for example, you might look, and I've said this quite a few times, I will concede that Chris Eubank Sr. is more of an Englishman than me. Honestly, have you seen him with his three-piece suit and his monocle talking perfect English? I will concede. I don't wear a three-piece suit. I don't have a monocle. I will concede Chris Eubank is more of an Englishman than me. But the color of his skin dictates otherwise in this fractionalization, in this tribalization. So people won't see that anymore. They will just see tribalization. They will just see visual markers. Opinions aren't formed through reason. They're badges of loyalty to your specific group. So, for example, Eritrean, Somalian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Syrian, Jamaican. What's that song? Go put all kind of peoples on this world, Syrian, Jamaican, and I don't know. I can't remember what it is. We've seen this firsthand, right? We've seen this firsthand. We can see this on the streets right now. The left, you know, where progressive echo chambers are calling everybody racist. Oh, you don't want millions of unchecked fighting age men come to your country from Afro-Islamic countries. Well, you must be a racist. And on the right, reforms gathering in popularity. Nationalism blinds you to the facts. And that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we are right now. And in Europe, it's the same. You've got the AfD in Germany clashing with the Greens. You've got Marine Le Pen's nationalists in France against Macron's centralists. Social media amplifying and exacerbating everything. Turning debates into digital battlegrounds. But here's where the flaws are. The inevitable fractures in this build-up. We evolved in tribes after all, right? We did. We evolved in tribes after all. Now, just quick question. You know when you've split up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, right? When you're in your mid-20s, everybody's been there, right? You're in your mid-20s, right? You've split up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Where do you go? Where do you go? Your mum and dad's house, right? You do. You go to your mum and dad's house. Yeah? You go to your mum and dad's house and you're on the couch or you're somewhere. Oh, I've split up with them. I can't believe it's over. That is tribalism. You're going back to your tribe where you feel safe. When trust crumbles, we retreat into our corners, and those corners become fortresses, 15-minute cities, the first Republic of Cleethorpes. Dialogue dies and violence fills that void. That's the reality. So that's the first thing, ladies and gentlemen. Polarization. The second thing, and look, guys, tell me I'm wrong, please, in the chat right now. If you think I'm wrong, if you think that Britain is not becoming a multipolarized country, put it in the comments. Say, hey, Sean, do you know what? I think we live in a perfect multicultural culture where everybody respects everybody else's rights and everybody's free and fair. Tell me, go on, please tell me. Please, go on. I dare you. Respectfully. And then there's the state loss of legitimacy. So these are my three core elements where you literally, this is, you know how in the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx and Engels, they were giving out their waffle where you would see a revolution. I'm giving the Ravens 3, the trident of civil war, I'm giving you guys my trident. I can't think of what it's called, but it's definitely a trident. So the first thing is polarization. The second thing is the loss of state legitimacy. Again, if you think right now, and if you're on the live stream and you're watching and you think the state of the United Kingdom, the government, the Labour government, if you think that they are a legitimate government right now, fine, put it in the comments. So it's not just happening in the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. This is happening across Europe, from Westminster to Brussels. Everybody, all the governments right now are seen as out-of-touch elites, failing to deliver on the basics. Literally the basics. Secure borders. Does that seem controversial to anyone? Does it seem controversial that the government should provide a secure border? I don't know. Maybe it does. Affordable homes. And I am going a little bit into the Communist Manifesto here. And safe streets. I wanted to put in like affordable food, but I thought that was going too far into the Karl Marx bit. But secure borders, affordable homes, and safe streets. I don't think we have any of those in the United Kingdom. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not from the UK, Florida started to call to me, guys. I thought it was going to be Texas. I did. I thought it was going to be Texas. Then I thought it was going to be Ukraine. Then I still thought it was going to be Ukraine. Now I feel Florida's calling. There's the three things, guys, okay? Do you feel we have secure borders? If anybody says we have secure borders, like, I've got you some beachfront property to sell you in Birmingham. Really, honestly, we don't have secure borders, right? Affordable houses, like, affordable houses. It's not difficult to assume that people should have affordable homes. Not only is it affordable homes, but it's affordable homes when their own government are not outbidding them with their own tax money, because that's what's happening, right? John and Chloe and the 2 kids who've just moved into that new estate, and John's just lost his job, and now Chloe's the only one working. They're struggling to pay their mortgage because they got a mortgage because that's what the government told them to do. The government are now outbidding them. The government are now outbidding them using their own tax money to get them out of those houses. Go figure. And safe streets. Does anybody think we have safe streets in the United Kingdom? We have scandals piling up, whether it's the rent boys that are building up, whether it's the Conservatives, Labour Party, the Green Party, even Reform are not immune. Scandals are building up. Immigration policies that feel like an absolute betrayal. And if you guys were on the live stream earlier, I give you guys the word of the day, which was treason. Just total random word, guys. I just picked it at random. The word treason. In France, you've got the yellow vests that have morphed into a rage file. And for those of you, I actually saw these yellow vests in France myself. When I went out there last, was it? I don't even know, like December or whatever, last year, in like a month ago. When I went out there and I was looking at these migrant camps, as soon as I drove in, as soon as I drove into the migrant camp, the yellow vests were coming out straight for me. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you here? All right, I'm going. In Italy and Spain, populists have started to revolt. When the state can't protect or provide for its people, think about that. When the state can't protect or provide, people will stop believing in the state. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, do you feel the state of Great Britain, the United Kingdom, do you feel it's providing for you right now? Or do you feel you're providing for the state? I think it's the latter, right? It's the latter. Certainly not the former. Do you feel the state is protecting you? Do you feel protected when you go out at night? Do you feel protected? Do you feel that criminals have a real deterrent? Oh, if we come to the United Kingdom, for example, total wild example. For example, if you came to the United Kingdom from Eritrea and you did a really bad thing against, towards a 14-year-old girl, and your punishment, totally hypothetical, guys, because this has clearly never happened, right? Clearly never happened. If you came from Eritrea and you did a really bad thing and you were staying at a hotel and you did a really bad thing against a 14-year-old girl, and your punishment was essentially sent home with a pocket full of cash, where's the deterrent? If you come to this country and abuse one of our girls, I'm going to give you a load of money and send you home. Sorry, say that again. Say that again. Civil war's coming, ladies and gentlemen. This is me saying it now, right? Okay, I'm not sloping the shoulders to Elon Musk or Donald Trump or something somebody else has said. This is me, because you know what? I set the standard. I don't even care anymore. I set the standard. Everybody else follows. Maybe a year later, maybe a couple of years later, maybe a few months later. But you know all the wild stuff I say? It's coming. How wild did it sound? How wild did it sound in 2024 before Donald Trump was even elected? How wild did it sound when I was telling people that there's going to be a US-led boots on the ground in Iran, March 2026? I even said the fucking month. And there's still people, oh, but Sean, why don't you just accept what I'm saying as like that just absolute gospel? So when people, you know, when the state, whatever country you're in, when the country can't protect, provide for its people, people will stop believing in it. They will turn to alternatives. They will turn to militias, local strongmen, even foreign influence. That's what's happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. But unfortunately, we don't have a Second Amendment. We don't have a constitution. So we don't have the legal ability to form militias. The EU's bureaucratic overreach is only accelerating this. It's perceived as a distant empire, not a union of equals. Once legitimacy evaporates, the social contract will shred and civil order will unravel. Yeah, that needs to go on a t-shirt, right? Sometimes I pull them out the bag. Once legitimacy evaporates, tell me now, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, do you feel legitimacy in the government of the United Kingdom and her crown and heirs and successors? Do you feel it has legitimacy right now? If it can't provide security, if it can't protect people, if it can't provide homes, if we can't provide homes for veterans, men and women who've ultimately understood that at some point they may have to lay their lives down for the defense of the realm. If we can't provide for them, not only do we not provide for our veterans, but we supersede the rights of veterans. Look, this is not me saying it now. The Home Office themselves argued that the rights of asylum seekers supersede the people of Epping. The rights of foreigners supersede the rights. Look, if your country doesn't look after you, if you don't get unconditional, if a country doesn't favor its own people, it's not your country. They're not your government. If your government does not favor you in your own country, then that's not your government. I'm just putting it out there, and I'm going out on a limb here, guys, because normally I would give speculation, analysis, opinion. I would give other people's opinions and say, oh, look at this. This is my own opinion now. And this is what I'm saying. I'm saying if your mum and dad, right, if your mum and dad don't give you favorable, don't favor you more than the next door neighbor's kids, guess what? You might need to get yourselves a new mum and dad. I'm just saying. And that's when people start to look for alternatives. And let's not dance around this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the big one. This is the big one. This is the finale. This is the cherry on the top. This is the icing on the cake. And I'm only halfway through. Let's not dance around the elephant in the room. I love that phrase. And if you know where that phrase comes from, you're an educated person. Ethnic replacement. Yes, I said it. I'm saying it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying it. I am saying it. English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, that is an ethnic group. You're an ethnic group. Ethnic replacement fuels the fury like nothing else. All the other things I've mentioned. All the other two things I've mentioned, you could argue with them. You can't argue with this. This is the big one, right? This is the big tamale. Ethnic replacement. Call it what you will. Demographic shifts, New Britons, New Europeans, mass migrations. But in the eyes of many, it's a deliberate erasure of cultural identity. In the United Kingdom's white rural heartland that I'm proud to fucking live. Yes, I am. I'm proud to live. I'm proud to live in the rural heartlands of England. Resentment boils over against urban Islamist enclaves. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I'm open for challenges. I'm open for intellectual challenges. And I'm open for physical challenges if anybody wants to throw down. In Europe, it's the Swedish no-go zones. In Germany, the integration failures. Dutch farmers protesting policies that seem to prioritize newcomers. There's adjacent movements. Nobody wants to use a certain word beginning with R, ending in ism. I don't think it is. I don't think wanting to protect your ethnic group is racism. I don't think it is. I would argue vigorously that it's not. But without that raw, visceral anger over who belongs, the other factors wouldn't ignite. Without that raw, visceral fury and rage, when you walk down your high street and nobody's speaking English, these three reasons, they are going to ignite into widespread slaughter. It's the emotional core of who we are. It's the emotional core of who we are. Now, earlier on, I talked about a death toll. I've served, I think I've done 5 operational tours in Northern Ireland. Now, over the Troubles, I think it was like 30 years, there was 3,500 people, around 3,500 people killed. The real number, nobody really knows, over the decades. And it depends how you're reporting it as well. Now, if you scale that up, to the population in the United Kingdom, we are looking at, and this is from, and I don't think this number is accurate, but I'm going to give you this number anyway, because of course I feel my number is accurate. But David Betts was doing, he's a Canadian, he's a Canadian analysis, basically. He works for the Imperial War Museum or something in London. And he was saying, it's not the War Museum, King's College London. He was saying that he believes the low end yearly toll would be 23,000, and I think it's going to be a lot higher. Now, if you take into consideration the amounts of diversity, so that's what he said. If you take into consideration the diversity, the different groups of people living in the United Kingdom, right? I'm trying to say it polite. I'm trying to say it articulate, right? How would you say it? The amount of diversity that we have in the United Kingdom, if you take into consideration the urban densities, the simmering conflicts, the polarization, I believe, from my estimates, and I've done a video when I gave you guys Raven maths on this. My low end estimate is 2.1 million. That's not, and I have done the maths on this. I'm not going to do it now because I'm conscious. I don't want to keep waffling. I want to get onto the chat. From my maths, Raven maths, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this is 2.1 million people in the United Kingdom that are going to go to the candy shop. It's maths informed by history. I've done a previous live stream. I can't remember when I did it, but I definitely did it, and I broke down everything. And you know the thing about Raven maths? It's not always right, but it always works. I was talking to my friends earlier, and we was on a group chat, and somebody gave a ridiculous calculation. Within about 5 seconds, I gave an answer. I said, it's below this number. I said, don't go any higher than this number. And then they all did the calculations. I said, guys, that's the number. And I think I said 1.5 million, and it came out at 1.38 million after about half an hour of calculating and talking. I said, yeah, look, Raven maths. Don't fuck about. Just go with Raven maths. Doesn't always make sense, but it's always right. Now, so what I'm saying here, guys, basically is, again, I've done the previous videos. I'm conscious I'm repeating myself. I've done the previous videos where I broke this down, why I'm saying 2.1 million. I'm giving the examples, which is literally maths informed by history. Islamist-based factions are in cities, and they would be versus the white rural strongholds. Clashes over resources, territory, ideology. You think I'm speculating? You think I'm speculating? Right now, as I'm giving this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, we have a convicted terrorist standing for election in Birmingham. No, I'm not making that up. That is fact. That is 100% fact. I'm not making that up. So tell me we're not there already. Tell me we're not there already. It's going to be, you know, and again, you know what I said? This is what really knocked me. And I did a members only video earlier, and it really knocked me for six, guys. And I'll tell you why afterwards, actually. And it really knocked me for six. One of all these things I've been saying, because I've been moving so quick. Normally, when I do these analysis and I'm working for a foreign government, you know, I can always come home and things are safe-ish. You know, I come home, everything's safe, everything's fine, you know, and I leave the work at home. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, the work is my home. The war is my home. The war's coming on our streets. Whether you like it or not, the facts are the facts. You can't argue with the facts, no matter how left-leaning you are. And of course, this is going to be Europe-wide. I think it'll start in the UK. I do. I think it'll start in the UK. I think France, Germany will suddenly be a patchwork of Balkan-style wars. I first started talking about this, and people would like scoff at me. They would. You know, when I first started talking about this to like my friends and stuff like years ago, people would scoff at me, smug, like they're window shopping in some apocalyptic scene. Nobody's going to want this, guys. When it's over, people will be glad it's over, and people, the Gen Zs, they're going to build a fantastic generation. They're going to build a fantastic society. And people seem to be thrilled by the drama. Safe in their own little bubble. Safe in your own little bubble. Oh, I'm okay. I live in Staffordshire. Oh, I'm okay. I live here. Oh, I'm okay. I go to work. All that's going to be over, guys. All that's going to be over. Just remember those three things, okay? If you forget everything else from this live stream, okay? Just remember, you know, the three, you know, always three interlocking elements that always emerge before a breakdown, before a total breakdown of society. Three things, guys. Get a little notebook and pen. Write these down. The polarization, us versus them. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, what's it going to be? It's going to be us versus them, versus them, versus them, allied with those and those until those guys are defeated. Then those guys are going to turn on us. It's going to be carnage. Polarization, multipolarization. The erosion of state legitimacy. When you stop trusting the state, you stop believing in the state, you start to understand that the state may or may not be for you. And ethnic replacement. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, does it feel like you're being ethnically replaced? Does it feel like you're being ethnically replaced with maybe 2, 3, 4, 800 people every day? I was watching, you know, I don't know if you guys have got any cryptocurrency. There's a guy, right? There's a guy, and the guy who made so if anybody's got any cryptocurrency, you'll know what the app Revolut is, right? Is it Revolut or Resolute? Revolut. So there's an app, Revolut, right? Now, I was watching a video, and someone was saying, right, that the guy who developed Revolut, he's a billionaire. He's now left the UK. He was paying $3 billion a year in tax. He was paying $3 billion a year in tax. Do you know how many people it would take to pay an extra £1,000 a year to pay his tax bill. It's like 500,000 or something stupid. But don't worry, he just goes down on the numbers on the immigration as, oh, that's a good thing that he's left, because net migration, we can afford, because as far as net migration's concerned, we've got Abdul from Eritrea, who's an engineer. Yeah, he's got no qualifications or anything, and he can't speak English. And we question, he struggles. But he's in a hotel at the moment, but he says he's an engineer or an architect or a doctor. He's just got no qualifications but as soon as we verify them, he'll be fine. Ethnic replacement, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me jump onto the chat. Am I going to jump onto the chat? Yeah, I'm going to jump onto the chat. I'm going to give a little bit of chat. I'm then going to turn you guys off on TikTok. I'm probably going to turn you guys off on TikTok in like 4 minutes or something, 3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And then I will just be streaming on YouTube. 2 reasons. One, I've got a glass of Merlot that I want to drink, and if I start drinking Merlot on the live stream, it'll be gone. And the second one is I don't want to get banned. Kai Healing 4 has joined. Hello, Kai Healing 4. And Nana Stella and Shaisha. Hello, Shaisha. That sounds like a Chinese name. Oh, beautiful Chinese name that is. And Willzoo75. Hello, Willzoo75. Right, I'm jumping over to the chat. I'm on the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on the chat right now, and I'm calling it. This is Raven calling it. This is not me saying Elon Musk's calling it. I'm saying right now, I'm putting myself out there like the Ranger from the North. Civil war is inevitable now. There's no going back. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. You just better prepare for it. All right. That's what you've got to do. You've literally just got to prepare for it. Let me get some chat. I would love to debate you about your running away. Where am I running away to? Where am I running away to? Although Florida does seem tempting. Jay loves, there is a difference between a nuclear bomb. It can be dropped and stopped. Once there's mass civil unrest, it can't be stopped. Do you know what, actually? That's fantastic. Yeah. One of my old, my hair's gone wild, hasn't it? One of my old, I'm trying to grow my hair, right? I'm trying to grow my hair to like Aragon length, like to my shoulders. I'm trying to grow my hair to like Aragon length. It's almost at John Wick length right now. And it's just a mess at the moment. But yeah, one of my old sergeant majors said, do you know what the hardest thing to get soldiers to do? To start shooting, to get them to start shooting. That's not one of the hardest things to get soldiers to do. Do you know what the second hardest thing to get soldiers to do is? To get them to stop shooting. So yeah, I totally understand that. Michelle is saying invest in copper and future technologies. So I will say yes to copper. How do we know what the future technologies are going to be? And I will listen for you guys on YouTube in a minute. I'm going to talk about something that happened today. I went to try and buy silver, and I'll give you that story shortly. Raven and the Game Minions, run. Oh, listen, I'm not being defeatist. Look, if you've got a wife, if you've got children, and I'm sure Stephen, I'm sure you've seen conflict. I'm sure you know what's coming. Nobody wants that for their family or loved ones. They don't. Nobody wants that for their family or loved ones. Craig Mawson is saying, Sean, the UK has gone down the swizzler. It has. It's absolutely gone down the swizzler. And the Jollyman is saying, Kepler, orbital mechanics. That's what I was trying to think of the other day. The Jollyman is saying, Kepler. So I was doing a space and aliens video the other day, and I couldn't think of the phrase orbital mechanics, but that's it. Kepler invented his laws of orbital motions based on the planet's relative masses before Cavendish had weighed the Earth's mass in a shed. Don't laugh. Okay, right. Okay, right. I'll respect that. Bison von Oslins is saying, I'm not looking to. Oh, hang on. Yeah, look, guys, look. So there's a lot of people on the chat right now. Look, I've seen these conflicts brew. I've seen them spill over. I've seen people, I've seen kids involved in these things, right? I don't want to see that here. And I don't want that to happen to your family or my family. My family first of all. I'm taking my family as priority, all right? And you should take your family as priority. So, you know, I get it. You know, people are like, you know, I would love, don't run away. We're here to stand and fight. Like, what? How are you going to do that fighting? Right, listen, you guys on TikTok, you've already got an extra minute out of me. I'm going to close you guys down now on TikTok. I will continue this live stream. I'll be continuing this live stream over on YouTube. I do hope to see you there, but if not, don't worry. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at like 10, like my normal time. And if not, just get ready and like get yourself ready for what's coming, because it is coming and it's inevitable. That's what Raven's saying. Right, I'm closing. Kirsty, Susie, Paul, Karen, and Kinder. All joined at the last minute. I do apologize. Right, I'm going now, and you guys are diddly doff. Yeah, they are diddly doff. They might scoff. Right, guys, let me jump down to the bottom. Oh, breaking news. Google. Right, let me find Googleinos. Let me find Googleinos. Sorry, guys. Sorry, let me get Googleinos' comments. US nuke sniffer arrives in the UK after Trump threatens Iran. Okay, so there's a series of aircraft that well, there's not a series. There's certain aircraft that are fit. Well, you know, let me rephrase this. All right, there are aircraft that have been fitted with sensors, and those sensors can detect nuclear radiation, basically. So if Google is saying that nuclear sniffer has arrived in the United Kingdom after Trump threatens Iran, that would speculate, look guys, and I'm doing this in real time, that would speculate to me that they're going to have another crack at their nuclear facilities, and then they're going to fly that aircraft around. These aircraft, these nuclear sniffers, these nuclear sniffers, they have to go very slow. That's the thing, right? They have to go very slow. So to put that into context, what I'm seeing right now, and this is just my real-time analysis, and I'm not giving this much thought. Most of my best analysis is without any thought. What I'm feeling from this is that the United States are going to totally obliterate Iran from the air. They are then going to send in the nuclear sniffer. They're going to locate the nuclear facilities, and then they're going to send special forces in to take those out. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Let me have a little bit of my wine. Let me have a little bit more wine, ladies and gentlemen. My last bottle. This is my last bottle, guys. My last bottle of Ravens. You see that? Ravens Reserve. You see the little raven on the barrel? And then there's a Templar Knight. Can you see the Templar? I don't know if you can. See the Templar Knight there? You've got like a Templar Knight. You've got Ravens, Special Reserve Merlot. And this was bottled in June 2025. I did 30 bottles of that. I did 30 bottles, and I thought they'd all gone, but I found this one. Because as you guys know, my beer's not ready yet. And there is not a chance I'm going through the end of the world sober. Not a chance, ladies and gentlemen. If the end of the world's coming, right, I, for one, am not going to go through it sober. Not a chance. I am going to be wasted. I am going to be absolutely wasted, making wild, rash decisions, right? Maybe even getting my own cult, my own following. I'll be driving around with a chaps, El Giganto, leather jacket, arms cut off. I will be full on. I'll be full on. I will. Maybe a little bit too early. Right, yeah, right. Let me get on to, right, what's going on here? Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? There's quite a few people. Right, there's not quite a few people. Where's this guy here? Stefan, the guy. Sean, it does sound like you're trying to justify giving up. Giving up on what? Giving up on what? You know, in 2003, when I first got back from Iraq, and I was telling people how bad things were and how different the cultures were, I was getting called all sorts of names. Nobody would care. Nobody would listen. When I went to, you know, when I went and lived out in the Middle East and I came back in 2010, by 2000, listen, I grew up in Rotherham, right? I grew up in Rotherham, all right? I know exactly what was happening on the streets in Rotherham in the 90s, in the noughties. Nobody would listen. Nobody would listen. If people are going to listen, but the problem is I'm telling you guys what's coming. I'm telling you guys what's coming. There's no stopping it. There really is no stopping it now. Civil war is inevitable in the United Kingdom. It is. And I don't know which way that's going to end. I don't know how that's going to end. Yet. I'll figure it out. But right now, I don't know how that's going to end. It will happen fast. It will, guys. It's going to happen real fast. So fast. And I've said this quite a few times. It's going to happen so fast. You're going to wake up on a Monday morning or maybe a Friday morning. It's probably going to be a Friday morning. You're going to wake up on a Friday morning. You're going to go to bed on a Sunday night. And you're going to go, what the fuck just happened? That's what's going to happen. So let me give you the anecdote about the silver. I think I've mentioned it previously before. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, earlier on in the live stream, I said to you guys, I said, right, I'm going to go and buy some silver coins. And I did this as a, look, guys, if you've not seen my members only video, go and watch that because I went into that a little bit more. But I went into Sheffield today, right? I looked online and there were 3 shops in Sheffield, right, that sell silver coins. So I went into Sheffield today, straight after the live stream. I was going to film it. I went to the first shop. I said, have you got any silver coins, mate? He said, no, we haven't got any. I said, oh, right. I said, when do you get them? He said, oh, it's a bit. And it was a bit short with me anyway. So I thought, right, rather than me drive around the city to go to the other shops, I'll just phone them up. So I phoned the first shop up. Yeah, no, got none. Just cut me off. I got to the final woman, and she was straight up. She probably owned the shop. And she was telling me, I said, right, so how do I get them? She says, well, you've got to phone up, and when we've got them, we'll tell you they've got them. And I said, can I reserve them if you've got them and I'll come down and get them? She says, no. I said, why can't I reserve them? She says, well, if I reserve them and you don't come, I've missed that sale. And she says, normally these silver coins are going within an hour or two. Think about that. Think about that. They get something in and within an hour or two, it's gone. What's that telling you, ladies and gentlemen? What is that telling you? Forget all this political bullshit. The people with money know what's coming, and the people with money know how to protect their money. Everybody's preparing, guys, whether you believe it or not. People are preparing for what's coming. People know. So with a silver coin, I haven't got any. With a silver coin, it has utility. Oh, but Sean, gold. No, gold doesn't have utility. Gold is a storage of wealth. It has no utility. With a silver coin, half ounce or an ounce coin, you can go somewhere with that silver coin and say, can I trade you this? Try doing that with an ounce of gold. You're just going to get it taken off you, right? So with silver, you can trade. There'll be a, you can do something with it. People are putting their money in silver, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me jump down. Let me get to the bottom. Right. Googleinos is saying councils face revolt over... This is a tongue twister. Councils face revolt over cancelled elections. And absolutely they should. This is the beginning to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Civil war is inevitable. I just gave you the 3 curses, right? This is the second one, right? When people lose faith, when people lose trust in the government. Tell me, if you don't have trust in, if you don't have elections, do you have trust? Can you trust your government if they're not going to have elections? We're not going to have elections this year, but make sure you keep paying your council tax, because Abdul and Mohammed and Rakim, they all need new houses. So keep paying your council taxes. I don't know how that money's built up, guys. I think I was a bit rude then. I don't mean to. You know, let me wind that back. I feel like I was a bit rude there. So let me just erase that last bit. I feel like I was a bit rude. Hey everyone, banned again, ran from Tower Hamlets. I don't know what that means. Who ran from? I don't know what that means. Debatable Lands is saying, hey everyone, banned again, ran from Tower Hamlets. I don't know what that means. Listen, I'm getting a bit of negativity in the chat, which is fine, and I welcome it, guys. I do. I absolutely welcome it. You can only do so much as one person, right? Yes, we all want to see, we all want to see. Look what happened with Stop the Boats, right? I tell you guys what's going to happen. If you don't agree with me, or if you don't like what I'm saying, that's totally fine. I respect that, but that's what's going to happen. And I don't. It doesn't really matter if you respect it or not. That's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is exactly what I said. Just recent example, right? You know these guys going over to northern France? Stop the boats. What did I say? The exact words I said. The guys going over to northern France, to stop the boats, Danny Tomo and all his mates. And listen, guys, I'm not taking anything away from those guys. I promise you I'm not. I'm taking nothing away from those guys. I think what they did was fantastic. It wasn't sustainable. It never was. It was never going to stop the boats. I said they're going to get banned from entering the country and they're going to get arrested. Turns out they got banned from entering the country and they've been arrested. You're dealing with things bigger now than people can contemplate. You can't contemplate the size and scale of what's happening. The solution to stopping the boats, and I said it straight away after being in northern France for 30, I knew it after 30. As soon as I saw the local population, it clicked into place instantly. It took me about 30 seconds. The solution to stopping the boats in northern France is to start another NGO. You fill it with patriots, you fill it with people going down there, and you provide security and monitoring to the people of northern France. You help the police out and you clear the beaches. Done. You stop the boats. Boats stopped. Nobody wants to do that. Do you know how much that would have cost? Raven maths, I'm saying that would have cost me £1 million a year. And that's cheap. £1 million a year to stop. That seems a good deal, right? That seems a good deal. £1 million a year to stop the boats. Do you know what that is? The context. Do you know what that is? You know this Tommy Robinson march, the Unite the Kingdom march in London, right? Again, what did I say? What's it going to achieve? The boats will keep coming. They'll keep putting people up in hotels, right? The high-end estimates for the Unite the Kingdom march in London were 3 million. If each one of those, how much do you think each one of those people spent going down to London? Potentially hotels, taxis, train fares, I've said hotels, beers. I hope they spent a lot on beer. Restaurants. How much do you think they spent? 3 million people. And what did they achieve? Just honestly, they all went down there. They all spent their money, their time, their effort, their resources, waving their flags. What did they physically achieve? I'll put it to you that they achieved nothing. if those 3 million people would have given me 33 pence each, I would have stopped the boats for a year. 33 pence. Other estimates say they were 100,000. Other estimates say they were 1 million. It doesn't matter, but that's what I'm saying. It's going to cost £1 million a year to stop the boats. And somebody's going to have to fit that bill. Right, let me jump to the bottom. There's some feist in the chat this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, if you're that hurt. Oh, what have I just done? Right, another thing. Right, I want to talk about preparing for what's coming because I've changed my. Let me get onto the chat. Actually, let me jump into the chat. Lewis Ackers is saying a start is what they've done. The public need to finish it. The government is public enemy number one. One. I think look. We have a prime minister in the United Kingdom right now who in fact, hang on. I think I've got a video by. I think I've got a video by Zia Youssef. And look, what you like about Zia Youssef, I don't know where that's gone. Right. I did have a video by, where's it fucking gone? Is that it? Right. I did have a video. So Zia Youssef earlier, he posted a video about Keir Starmer. And he's saying how Keir Starmer has pursued the soldiers, one particular soldier, dragged him through the court system 3 separate times. Bear in mind, this was a soldier who was struggling. He had mental health issues. He turned to alcohol, and Keir Starmer kept at him. So when people say that the government is the enemy of the state, with recent developments, it's hard. It's hard to counter that. It really is. Too many backhands being given out to want to stop the boats. Exactly. Not going to happen now or in the future. Something maybe. Rocket Man Gaming. Yes, exactly. I'm not saying to people, look, guys, I'm not saying to people I'm being defeated. I'm a hopeless. Look at that. Honestly, look at that bottle. Seriously. Can you imagine, right, when the collapse has happened and when the apocalypse has happened, right, and you all come round to Raven's house, and I've got the new batch of Raven's Reserve red wine. Can you imagine how awesome it's going to be? But yeah, I wouldn't say it's too many backhands. I would say it's too much money being made. And, people talk about backhands, and I'm going to go to what I always say with Edward Snowden, right? The biggest conspiracies are not the ones hidden, right? They're not the ones hidden behind closed doors in smoke-filled rooms with men smoking cigars. They're the ones that go out to public tender, right? They're the contracts that go out to public tender that have scrutiny. For example, right? And this is how you do it. So look, guys, I don't know if you guys know how the system works. So if you want one of your mates to win a contract, there's quite a few ways to do it, actually. If you want one of your mates to win a government contract, right? What you do is you make it so weird. You say, right, okay, you say to your mate, right, Raven, what do you have? And I say, right, I've got an office here. I've got an office there. I've got this many staff. I've got 5 permanent staff working for me. We've got a turnover of X. And we've got these assets. So then the contract gets written. Only people who can apply to tender are people with no more than 5 staff, with a turnover no greater than this, no lower than that. 2 offices at least 2 offices in the UK, 1 in the North, 1 in the Midlands. And then you make up the strategic reasons for that, right? And then when other people look at the contract, they're like, fucking hell. Well, we can't apply for that because we don't, and then you give it a very short time. You give it like a 7-day time notice. So nobody's going to be able to fulfill that in 7 days, right? So then guess what? There's only one company who tenders for that. Or if there's 2 companies that tender for it, guess which one gets it? So, when people are saying, that, there's backhanders, I understand what you mean, but the real backhanders are the contracts that get put out to tender, and people's friends meet them. Marrowwind Hollow. Andy, I don't know what that means. Andy, are you talking in backhoe? I don't know if you're talking. Can you send me another key setting? I don't know what that means. Oh, heard that, Sean. Heard what? What did you hear? Part-time at Raven's house. I'm not part-time, Peabody. I'm full-time. I'm full-time every time. And Craig Morrison is saying, well, Sean, I'm drinking my home brew at the minute. Listen, I think everybody should look. When people say everybody needs to grow food for the apocalypse, I'm like, listen, you guys grow food. You guys are good at growing food. I'm like, honestly, like, I'm not going to, I'm just going to throw it out there, right? Like, I'm growing food is a desired strength, right? It's a desired strength. We tried to grow, I want to say bananas. We definitely didn't try to grow bananas. We tried to grow tomatoes, like not last year, but the year before. Absolute fucking disaster. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. We got like these little spindly things, and we didn't even get like a tomato. I don't know what went wrong. But making alcohol, making booze, I'm pretty fine with this. I can do all sorts. I can do red wine, white wine, cider, beer, lager, Swedish vodka. I can do all sorts of stuff, guys. I can make all sorts of stuff. Ale, blonde ale, dark ale. What else can we do? Ruby ale. Do you know what you do with ruby ale? Little trick for you guys. If you're making your own beer, if you're going to make ruby ale, you only make ruby ale if you've made red wine. And you take all the stuff out of the red wine, so your grapes, your blackberries, whatever you've put in your red wine, and you put that in the beer and let that ferment, and it makes it like into a ruby ale. Blowing Bubbles is saying Starmer done a deal with the US. Pay off their Chinese debt and it's done. He shall work for nothing and it will go. Starmer's done a deal with the US. Starmer's done a deal with the US. Pay off their Chinese debt and it's been done. Really? I don't know. That's the first I've heard about that. That is literally the first I've heard about that. James is saying, I've been looking at Iran's do Iran have submarines? And sea mines look potentially very dangerous. So that whole region in the south coast, that's why they're going to use drones. So you guys can remember back in Can you hear the bells? Can you hear the bells? No, that's it. So can you guys remember when all the drones were flying around New Jersey and everybody was saying, it's baby Jesus. Oh, hell, it's baby Jesus. Oh, man, do y'all know baby? Oh, it's baby Jesus. He's talking to me, baby. Ronald, JR, and you big Cupid. Come over here, you big stag. It's talking to me. He knows baby Jesus. Oh, baby Jesus. Can you guys remember that? Literally, can you guys remember that? I was like, no, that's the US military testing their equipment. So that's why they were testing their equipment, because they're going to use drones, quadcopters on the south coast of Iran. Blow Bubbles are saying it ain't going to kick off. You're all too happy watching Netflix and getting food delivered. You're all fucked. I think, okay, so the first part of your sentence, I would disagree with. The second part of your sentence, I would agree with, but say that's why it is going to kick off. So everybody has been too happy watching Netflix and getting their food delivered to see what's happening on the streets. Ergo, that's why it is going to kick off. Right, I'm just jumping to the bottom. It was Baby Jesus. How dare you mock the Baby Jesus drones? Was it Baby Jesus? I don't know if it was Baby Jesus. Was it not just Jesus? I don't know. Peabody said, I heard the bell, Sean. Thank you, Peabody. Is Sean drunk? No, Sean doesn't get drunk. Sean gets even. I don't know. Have I got much left? I've got about a quarter of the bottle left. So no, I'm not drunk. I'm not. Well, it depends what you mean by drunk. But let me put it there. But honestly, how awesome is that bottle? You can't really look at that. You've got like a Templar Knight there. And then you've got like some berries, some grapes. And then you've obviously got a raven on the beer barrel, on the wine barrel. And then it says type, Merlot, Raven Special Reserve. And it's a date and the percentage. Get the binoculars out and show us Quasi Raven. I don't know what. Listen, guys, this is going south. Listen, this is going south now. This live stream is descending into absolute anarchy. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I'm looking at the time. I am going to have to start to close this down now. I'm saying this now. Nobody else. I'm not quoting Elon Musk. I'm not quoting anyone else. I'm saying, through my professional opinion, for the reasons I've just stated earlier on, so if you're just jumping on now, you're going to have to rewind it. Civil war in the United Kingdom right now is inevitable. It's not going to be in the United Kingdom. It's also going to be in Europe. It's going to be fast. It will happen. It will start fast. The tensions are simmering over. The tensions are simmering over everywhere you look, literally everywhere you look in the United Kingdom. Those tensions are simmering over. Let your eyes, trust me, guys, don't listen to people on the telly. Whoever it was, I can't remember who it was. Somebody on the chat said, there's not going to be a civil war because people are too busy watching Netflix, right? Let your eyes tell you the truth. These things, they don't lie. When you walk down your high street, just look. That's all I'm saying. When you walk down your high street, just look. That's all you need to do. Just look. Use your eyes. Your eyes are not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. And before I'm going to leave you guys with my three, the three elements in my experience that always emerge as a precursor. So if you want to write these down, that's fine. If you want to write these down, guys, want to write these down, you got your notebooks out, get your notebooks out. Like, ladies and gentlemen, get your notebooks out, write these things down. Three things that always emerge as a precursor, as a harbinger of doom, as a harbinger of civil breakdown. One, polarization. And in the United Kingdom, it's going to be multipolarization. Two, the erosion of state legitimacy. And three, ethnic replacement. When you've got all those three things, and I would speculate that we do in the United Kingdom, you are on a one-way track, ladies and gentlemen. You're on a one-way track to the candy shop, and you're going to be spending all you got. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to be closing this guy. I am going to be closing this down now, ladies and gentlemen. I am. You guys are fantastic as well. You got Cheryl. Sherry. Sherry's saying, did you check the Swedish vodka? Yes, I did. And it still feels like a sweet mess. what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to split that into 2 buckets. I'll probably do another members only. I'll probably do another members only video on that later. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to split that into, because there was far too much sugar in there. I was when I dipped that thing in it, there was just far too much sugar in there. I think I should have just put 1 kilo in. So what I think I'm going to do is get another bucket the same size, do half and half, fill them both with water again, and add another yeast sachet in both of them. I think that's what I'm going to do. Listen, and Cheryl, I wanted to do this so it was cheap and everybody could do it without going to the shop and buying like conical fermenters. And like, I didn't want to be that douchebag, right, who stands there with all their fancy kit and equipment saying, this is how you do. Because, when you watch those videos, like when you watch a Nigella Lawson video and she's saying, yes, you use this machine. And you're like, fucking hell, where'd you get that from, Nigella? And she's like, and you're like, yeah, I don't have one of them. So what I wanted to do in that video, Cheryl, I wanted to just like make it as easy as possible for everyone to do. But I think I put far too much sugar in. In fact, I know I put far too much sugar in. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to get another one of those containers. I'm going to pour half the mix into there, top it back up with water, and add another yeast, I think. And then I'm going to see how that. Then we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I'll do another members only video for you guys tomorrow. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, civil war inevitable. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying civil war is inevitable now. It's going to happen fast. Let your eyes tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. If you take nothing away, let your eyes tell you the truth. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic as always, and beautiful and articulate and amazing and literally just the best. Just the best. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10.